Hello. Okay, so for yoga today, we are going to play with this idea from the Buddha that says that the body is the tree of awakening. And it's this idea that through sensation and through breath, that we can experience more freedom in ourselves and our body. And so we're going to have a little yoga practice to play with this idea. So let's go ahead and begin. We'll come to the mat. And I have a blanket here on the mat. And the blanket makes the mat a little bit wider. So you'll see I have it, it's kind of long, right across. And then we're going to come right into child's pose. I have my socks on because it's pretty cold. Go ahead and find your way into child's pose. And if child's pose feels particularly tough first thing, sometimes it's worthwhile to lift the head a little bit. And so there's kind of different ways that you can do that. So you can come onto the blanket if that works for you. To lift the head, you can make all kinds of different shapes with the hands. So it could be one palm on top of the other. It could be stacking the fists and putting your forehead on the fists. But some way where you can come in and take some time here. So the first part here would just be arriving, right? So coming into this space, this physical space, but also coming into this space kind of mentally, right? And that takes a particular kind of effort of putting aside all the things that might be on our agenda and being able to be just present here for this practice. And that effort that we make to be here present for this practice tends to multiply in its benefits right in our life. So this kind of focused time here gives us access to this kind of space inside that we could potentially return to again and again throughout the day. This kind of, it's a sense of surrender, it's a sense of trusting, it's a sense of acknowledging that this body has a wisdom, right? That there's a certain intelligence to this system that we can pay attention to. And one way that we kind of tap into it, which is this idea of the tree of awakening that the Buddha talks about, is that we can use the breath to awaken the body. And in awakening the body, we awaken our senses, right? And then we also awaken our ability to see clearly, see more clearly, which is like a superpower. So as you're here, see if you can take a little stronger inhale. So when you breathe in, it could be through the nose or it could be through the mouth. You're just going to breathe in down into the low back and see if you can, the breath doesn't actually travel to the low back, but can you feel when you breathe in that there's movement there, that there might be pressure there? It's like you can sense the breath reaching down into the low back. And when you exhale, you just release the breath. So there's just this kind of release, no effort. And see if you can take a few breaths like that. Maybe down into the pelvic floor. So feeling the breath, so to speak, come down into the root. And there's a certain kind of sensation, a certain kind of awakening. And then we'll breathe out into the side ribs, so kind of mid-back. Again, the inhale is nice and strong, but still inviting softness. And the exhale is a release. And then we'll take one more breath up into the chest. Feeling the breath, feeling the sensations, the movement that the breath creates. This kind of chain reaction across the tissues of the body. And then we're gonna just ground the hands and come back upright. And if it's okay with you, we'll take the knees a little bit wider. And you'll just kind of see what works for you. So if you want to adjust as we move into this, you will. But we'll come forward onto the hands and the knees. And then we're going to see if we can continue to let ourselves come forward. So we can come down onto perhaps the elbows and let the soles of the feet come together here. And they'll come up into the air. And then if that's all feeling okay, you just rest the belly down onto the ground, soles of the feet together. And see if you can give an actual press of the soles of the feet together. Maybe you can feel each toe matching each toe, right? Just these kinds of exercises where we're directing the attention to something maybe ordinarily we would think is real boring or something, but here, the simplicity is this kind of cleansing, cleaning, making space in ourselves, right? So that we can process overwhelm, we can process anything that's held in the body, and process what might be sticky or stuck. And then let the feet start to travel a little bit down towards the ground. They might come far, they might not come so far. See what's okay in your body. See if you can relax the shoulders. And feel the belly on the earth. And those same nice big full inhales, we'll take those down into the belly now. Find the soles of the feet pressing. The breath awakening the body. And then release the feet away from each other and come up onto the elbows, if that's okay. And then you're going to take these kinds of circles with the feet. So they're just big circles, and it will travel up into the pelvis. So there'll be some movement in the pelvis. You can let the head sway here. You can let the head go with it. And go in the other direction. And then we're going to have the hands underneath the shoulders, or maybe a little bit wider, and we'll press into one hand and look towards that hand, but let the head and the chest shift over in the other direction. And then you're kind of massaging the front of the body as you come across the mat and over to the other side. So the shoulders shift, the head looks in the opposite direction. Keep drawing the shoulders out of the ears. Let the feet wiggle wherever they do. They kind of, for me, go in the opposite direction that I look. You can flex the ankles and point and kind of spread the toes so that feet are a little bit active here too. Sometimes this invites like really deep breathing, so if that's true for you, let it be nice and full. And then we'll push into the hands. We'll come back up. So my knees are still wide, see if that's okay for you. And we'll come into this really wide-legged child's pose. Let the arms this time be out front if that's okay. Support your head if you need to. And let it be about this kind of breath. I'm just going to lift my head so I'm not muffled on the floor, but let this be about the breath, that awakening breath. So sometimes that doesn't feel good to take big breaths, but sometimes it's about kind of moving through some stagnancy in the energy, and then those deeper breaths start to feel better. So encourage the breath full, right? Encourage these nice relaxed big inhales, so it's not this big stiff drawing in, but see if you can draw a big breath in like a that kind of breath, right? Not big and stiff and rigid, but big and juicy and nourishing. Yeah, and then let's walk the hands over towards the left. I like to put my head on my forearm here as I reach the right arm overhead. And as the right arm comes over to the left and overhead, we're going to really be strong in pressing down through the palms. So see if you can feel the whole circumference of the palm. In the middle of the palm, you can imagine is like open towards the center of the earth. And once you find that connection, the other connection would be the right side of the pelvis. So the right side of the pelvis, heavy and grounding. And then using the breath, right? The fingers of the breath are like the body worker, kind of fingers of the breath. You breathe all along the right side of the body, awakening the tissues, bringing awareness, exciting this intelligent force, right? So that can be present in our life. And then we'll come back through center and right over to the other side. So again, I like forehead on the forearm, left arm reaching, left palm, so the fingers are spread ever so slightly so that you can feel the whole circumference of the palm. So the base of all the fingers, the base of the thumb, the outer edge of the palm on the pinky side, and the bottom edge of the palm. And then imagine in your mind's eye that palm is open down to the center of the earth. So there's this kind of opening, sensing. Left hip is grounding. That's just an intention. You might even shift a little bit of weight over there. And then there's the breath, right? A few of your good, juicy, loving inhales. And then we come back to center and walk the hands back up. So it's okay, we'll sit on the heels and take the fingers back behind. If it's not okay to sit on the heels, you can put a block underneath here. I'll take the hands just back behind and the fingers pointing straight to the sides. Get just a little bend in the elbows and see if you can lift up straight up through the chest. So it's just chest lifting. Chin actually comes a little bit down towards the chest so that you can get long through the back of the neck. Feel the weight on both palms and take a few breaths now, awakening the front of the body. So the front of the body gets your breath, your awareness, right? How you can direct the breath. And then we'll come back center. Go ahead and draw the knees in towards each other. And then we're going to come up into downward facing dog. So if you like to grab blocks for under the hands, grab blocks, we'll tap the toes. Let's use just a little bit of strength here. So we'll tuck into the toes, lift the knees. And then shift the hips. up and back. Let's go ahead and take the hands wide, the feet wide, so almost as wide as the mat or as wide as the mat. And then we'll pick up the heels and see if it's okay to turn the heels over towards the left and lowering them back down. And then come up onto the balls of the feet, turn over towards the right, and then let the heels sink down. And a couple more like that. Lifting, turning, heels ground. Lifting, turning, and then the heels don't have to make it to the ground at all, right? It's just a movement. Good. And then back to center. Walk hands towards the feet, feet towards the hands. Let's forward fold over the legs. I'm a big fan of taking the feet real wide, the knees bent. Grab each elbow, let the crown of the head hang. And shift the weight foot to foot. Letting awareness, again, be settled, right? Settled on the sensations. And then we're going to roll all the way up to standing. And release the hands down by your sides. And just pause and feel. So feel the quality of the breath. And then take the hands, Anjali Mudra, which is this mudra right at the palms together, right at heart center. Let the elbows lift, but the shoulder heads lower. Yeah. And give a little press into the palms. And then really ground down through the feet. Lean back ever so slightly and slide the hands up and overhead. So you're almost like coming towards a back bend, but it's just going to be so small. Yeah, and then exhale, come right back to center. So it's just this little play into a back bend. The hips might shift a little bit more forward, but really ground down through the heels as you lift the arms and lean back just a little here. And back to center. And just once more like that. Hips might shift a little bit forward. Hands could come back. They could stay at the forehead, which feels great. They could stay at the crown of the head, which feels great. Or they could start to reach a little bit back behind. Strong body. Yeah. And then pull back. Center. Release the arms. Sweep them all the way up and overhead. Big breath in. And exhale right down the center line. Each yoga practice, hopefully, we connect into the center line. The center line is like this. Go ahead and take another breath in. Arms all the way up and overhead. And then back down again. Because the center line is like this commitment towards, right, this fine line of balance in our life, right? Following the thread of what it means to live in this body, in this time, with these relationships, and really honoring what that is, as it is, right? That there's a particular balance there within all of the 10,000 things that could feel like chaos. And this tree of awakening, right, is what shows us. It's what kind of lights the way. Let's go hands to heart center. Yeah. And we'll take just a breath in, setting our intentions to follow that thread. And then let's release, and we'll come stepping with the right foot forward, left foot back. I'm going to just step over my blanket, but you might choose to move your blanket out of the way. Just a few breaths here in Warrior One, so make sure that the feet are a particular distance away so you're not on a tightrope and you can balance. Let the pelvis face mostly forward and take the elbows just right by your sides. Let the palms face up. And you're gonna like serve, offer with your hands as you reach forward, continuing to feel into the back foot. And then when you come back, the elbows slide back by your sides. Just twice more like that. Reaching forward, offering something, a breath, particular heart space. And then when you come back, you also receive, right? And all of life is this giving and receiving, this continual cycle. One more time, challenging the balance, perhaps really bend into the front leg. And then let your hands come back. We're just simply going to switch over to the other side by pivoting on the heels. We'll pivot to the back of the mat. Take the elbows by the sides. Adjust the feet as you need to. Take a breath in. Let the breath go, settling down into the pelvis, so that Apana Vayu. And then we're offering forward, staying connected to that back foot. And then we pull back. Right? A gesture of the cycles, releasing forward, the seasonal cycles, the cycles of what it means to be human. Pull the elbows back. Constant cycles all around us. Things being created, things being taken away, always, right? Continual. And that we honor being part of this cycle. Bring hands to heart, turn back to the center, heel toe the feet in, maybe step together, and then we'll come right down onto our backs. I'm going to adjust my blanket so that it is for my torso, maybe even a little bit of my head. And we'll come onto the ground, just like that. Let the knees come together now and the feet apart. Take the arms wide out to a T. Feel the breath and invite a few fuller inhales. Take the hands up towards the sky. Cross the right elbow over the left and let the hands come to either side of the shoulders. Keep inviting those deeper breaths to see, can you feel awakening? Can you feel, right, that when you draw the breath in, maybe there's greater sensation to where you draw that breath. And maybe when you let the breath out, that sensation is still bright, right? That light is still on. That part of the body is still awake. And in this way, we can start to feel this kind of shimmer of presence, this kind of awakeness in the body. Let's release the arms wide. Notice which arm you had on top, and we'll go right over to the other side so the hands come up and over. Breath stays big and full. Maybe directing the breath into a particular place in the body. And feeling what comes of that, right? Is there greater sensation? Can you keep that on the exhale? release into Shavasana. We'll have just a few breaths here, releasing. Let the breaths be full and complete for a few breaths. And then at some point release. Just release everything. So any control of the breath, any need to control the mind, any need to control life's circumstances. And for this moment, just turning towards being, right? A spacious being. And then we'll bring some more breath into the body. You're welcome to stay longer if you'd like. If you're ready to complete, we can complete together. But just rolling over onto a side, and we'll come up to a seated position. And take the hands again into Anjali Mudra at the heart, a little bow of the head, in gratitude towards this practice. Om Shanti, Om Peace, Namaste.